Hello, this is Matthew Miller from the ZDNet Cell Phones and Smartphones and Mobile Gadgeteer blogs. Today I have a little bit lucky. I was sent the Sprint Touch Pro to check out last week, and then I just recently took back my BlackBerry Bold yesterday actually and picked up the new HTC Fuze. So I have an opportunity to compare the two side by side, and let's just take a look here. Let's take a look here at both of these devices side by side so you can see some of the differences that we have. So there are some physical differences between the devices, and as you can, let's see if I can get a view of this. As you can kind of see here, the Sprint version is actually taller than the AT&T version, just slightly taller. They both have the Touch Pro 3Ds, you can see here. Neither one is as good as what I liked on the Touch Diamond that I checked out before. As you can see, we can roll through the different options. Let's just take a look at the AT&T one. One thing with the AT&T one is it has their serious bloatware on here, which I'll probably be trying to find a way to get rid of all of this crap that happens to be on the device, because that just stuff that I'm not going to subscribe to and slows me down a little bit. Otherwise, as you can see, it's touch flow back and forth, and then let's see, the device is pretty minimalized with the buttons that are on there. And on this one side here, what you'll see different here is that there's the volume button, but there's also a push to talk button, which right now by default you cannot reassign that to anything. And then on the bottom there is the microphone and the HTC set connector. There's this magnetic stylus. As you can see, it's also thicker than, say, something like this is the GSM Touch. As you can see, it's about double the thickness because of the battery that happens to be on it. But you also see on the AT&T one, there is the camera that the Touch Diamond had, but it also has a flash as well, and it still has that high glossy. As you can see, there's tons of fingerprints on it, backing on it. But it's a pretty decent camera, 3.2 megapixel with a flashlight now, and the power button up top. Now let me just show the outside part of the Sprint version. So the Sprint also has the Touch Flow 3D, as you can see here, and Sprint has also added a couple of their screens. There's Sprint Music, so you can go to the Sprint Music store. Then there's Sprint TV. You can watch the Sprint TV as well on there. And then, of course, there's all the other pieces of the Touch Flow that are found in all the devices. And you can also, you'll see on the Sprint one, there's also quite a bit of bloatware on there as well. On this left side is the volume buttons, the same as the other AT&T Fuze, and the same as on the bottom. Same connectors, magnetic stylus, nothing along the right side. And up top is the power button. On the back is the camera as well, 3.2 megapixel with a flash, but as you can see, they're obviously different. This one has a soft touch back that's silver and smooth, whereas this one has the diamond kind of backing on it. Now, one of the important differences between the two are the cameras. The cameras are actually quite a bit different. Excuse me, the keyboards. So if we try to match them up here, and as you can see, both of them do have 5 rows. The Sprint version, and I'll show this in pictures that might be a little bit clearer, the Sprint version has a number row up top, whereas the AT&T version has the numbers arranged in like a keypad formation. I do like the placement of the keys on the AT&T one better, because they have as you can see, maybe able to see, they have a start and an OK button, whereas the Sprint version does not have that, so you have to interact with both the keyboard and the screen at the same time, rather than just hanging out in the keyboard area. So to me, looking at it, it looks like the AT&T HTC Fuze is much more usable as far as leaving yourself and your fingers on the keys rather than having to bounce back and forth between the screen and the keyboard itself. The buttons are quite tight up towards the display up here, but well, you know, they have a nice physical feedback. I like having the directional pad arrows over here. So it's a very tight keyboard, but it also could be very functional. I have still pretty early in my evaluation to really check them out, so I can't say a whole lot about the keyboards. I do notice though that the mechanisms, I don't know if you can hear that, it's a little bit stiffer and not as smooth on the Sprint model, whereas on the AT&T one it is quite smooth and it has a solid slide out. The AT&T one doesn't quite have that feedback and doesn't quite snap into place as well as the AT&T one. It actually sounds a little bit gritty sliding it open and closed. So there's those two devices, and next to the Touch Diamond version, as you can see, if we stack them up, thickness is quite a bit increased, almost double, but the battery is also, I believe it's a 1340 milliampere, so it's a lot bigger. Hopefully it should last a lot longer as well. So let's look at the hardware on the HTC Fuze and the Sprint Touch Pro. Both pretty nice devices. I plan to check them out in more detail and write up the review.